So, I grew up in the United States, um, but I discovered mindfulness and meditation when I was living in Asia. I was a businessman, traveling around China and Tibet and Vietnam and Thailand and Singapore, doing a lot of business. I don't know if I've watched the movie Indiana Jones, but I felt like I wanted to be like Indiana Jones, traveling the world, like looking for artifacts and cool ancient items from Asia and send them back to the United States. But I was doing business, buying all sorts of jewelry and antique furniture and all sorts of things. But I met some Taoist monks and some Buddhists and some wise people who taught me some meditations and taught me mindfulness. And it was very different from anything I had practiced before. I had always been interested in the Tao Te Ching, but when I really started practicing mindfulness with these monks, I was wearing a tie suit, kind of stressed out, thinking about women and fancy dinners and all sorts of things. But when I started meditating, it really transformed me. I was like really shocked at this whole internal world that I had never really brought much presence to. And felt very transformed by it pretty quickly. And I was very inspired by these mindfulness teachers. And so I kept seeking it out and reading about it and learning about it. And then I lived in Israel for a while, in Jerusalem, in the old town of Jerusalem, where there's many, many holy people from 4 different world religions. And I felt the calling to devote myself to something more and to devote myself towards deeper peace and awareness of what's really happening around us, or around me, and internally. So I decided to become a Buddhist monk, to really devote myself to the practice of mindfulness 24/7. And every day I got up at 3:30 in the morning, sleeping on a hardwood floor with no pillow, no blanket, and would meditate. So I'd have an alms bowl where I'd go collect food from the villagers in the countryside of northern Thailand, and just basically practice all day. And so the foundational practices in both Buddhism and also in secular mindfulness are practices where we bring mindfulness to our own body. The physical sensations of our body. And that includes the sensations of breathing, standing, walking, eating. It includes what many people consider to be the most powerful mindfulness practice, mindfulness of death, which is the practice of sensing into this very inhale as quite possibly your last. I'm not here to get into that now, and I don't advise you to try that without a coach or a skillful guide. But reflecting on mortality and reflecting on the preciousness of this breath as being possibly your last can help us to awaken to the richness of the moment. But these practices of being mindful of the body are usually the foundational practices that we can concentrate on, and which are the foundational practices that I teach in corporations and hospitals, prisons, and schools around the world.